This kid went through it every single day. Bullies taking out their frustrations on his face. He took the beatings for years. But one day, something changed. Kim Tae-hun awakened and none of his friends had a clue. Tae-hyun started laughing like a maniac. They all thought it was strange. Maybe he had finally snapped. Did he turn into the Joker? For the first time ever, Tae-hun fought back. The bully was sent flying. His friends were terrified. Our protagonist just smiled and told them. Things had changed. He was now one of the awakened, but they just mocked him. Said it was pure luck. They were all awakened, too. And like cowards, they attacked together. Tae-hun dodged the attack and shattered his opponent's teeth. Tae-hun landed a kick to his stomach, defeating him just as quickly. This was not the same boy they knew. Kim Tae-hun had 30 years of experience using mana. He knew everything about the abyss and the monsters that would wipe out half of humanity. Here's why. At 35, Kim Tae-hun was a failure who had never awakened. He worked as a porter, carrying gear for hunters. He was humiliated for being weak, and all he could do was accept his reality. After all, these were the guys who would save the world. In this society, people were recognized by their awakened rank, not by money or anything else. Tae-hun had none of that. He never awakened, and he was poorer than you can imagine. One day, he got distracted. He didn't even notice that all the hunters had been eliminated. The strongest heroes were now lifeless corpses. He was next. The one responsible was a legendary rank SS monster named Asodius. Tae-hun tried to attack only to confirm how useless it was. Asmodeus invaded his mind, forcing him to relive his worst memories before death. The car crash that killed his parents. The torment he suffered in school. His mediocre life as a porter. He lived through it all just to meet a pathetic end. That's what should have happened. But a being, probably a god, suddenly appeared and stopped time itself. Tae-hun couldn't possibly understand. This white being standing before him. Asmodeus and the rest of the world were frozen. His own body was frozen, too. Tae-hun used 100% of his brain power trying to understand, then gave up. He asked the white being who he was. The man was called the king, but that wasn't important. He granted Tae-hun the authority that was his until now. The boy was lost in thought, so the king told him not to overthink it. He simply admired Tae-hun's willpower and chose him to complete a task in his place. Dragon made a move on him. Perhaps it was drawn to the king's power now nesting in Tae-hun's soul. Our protagonist woke up. He was young again with all his memories intact. The bullies were crushed, but their leader got back up. He revealed he was an awakened with the ability Stone Skin. He attacked Tae-hun with a reinforced fist, but missed. His body may be weak, but Tae-hun now had the combat experience of a 35-year-old. The red-haired kid leaped and shattered the school's roof. Tae-hun attacked from behind, landing a blow on the enemy's face. Red drops scattered, but they weren't from his opponent. They were from his own hand. The enemy hit him with full force, sending him flying, so strong it destroyed the school roof even more. Tae-hun didn't have the strength to get up. The bully walked over, laughing at him again. A failure can never change, and now he would pay the price for daring to fight back. Tae-hun had returned to the past and even awakened. Was this how his new life was going to be? People awaken at ranks from the weakest F to the strongest S. The higher your rank, the stronger your body and skills. Tae-hun received rank F. This bastard in front of him was rank C. There was no way he could win. But something was different now. Tae-hun stood up and felt a new energy inside him. A power that didn't feel like his own. The boy's aura terrified the bully. It made no sense for a failure to have this kind of energy. Tae-hun felt it. This was predation. That impossible skill. The bully attacked with everything he had. The protagonist raised his hand and blocked the attack. A shockwave exploded all around them. The truth is the attack never even touched his hand. A mysterious force was coming from Tahan. This was the birth of a king. The energy flowed into the bully's body. Across the schoolyard, uninvolved students froze in shock at the blast behind them. When the dust finally cleared, the outcome was revealed. The bully lay defeated on the ground like a crushed insect, and only Tae-hyun remained standing. A voice in his head said that the predation was complete, and as a result, his power rose from rank F to rank E. Kim Tae-hyun's hands began to petrify, showing that a new ability had been registered. The stone skin was taken by him and his entire fist became a solid rock. When suddenly the scene changed to the school infirmary. The nurse was open-mouthed, seeing 3 injured youths being carried by another. Kim Hyun greeted the nurse trying to disguise himself. Shouted in confusion at the situation. The 3 boys were laid on the infirmary beds. The nurse used her healing abilities to treat their wounds. She tried to question how they all got injured, and he lied, saying they fell down the stairs. After healing in the infirmary, he left the school and walked the path home, immersed in thoughts. After today's battle, his daydreams were about his predation ability. In the past life, he trained all his life to increase the rank of the ability. But today, in just one fight, he managed to increase its rank, an F rank ability that can surpass the strength of a C rank and also steal other abilities from defeated opponents. He was filled with questions about why that king gave him this ability and why he returned to the past. Even with countless unknowns, he thought there was only one thing to do now, and that was to learn more about predation. Finally, he arrived at his house. He looked nostalgically at his home, as it had been years in his memory since he last returned. He remembered that when his parents died, he started living with his uncles. A smile appeared on his face. He entered the house, thinking if he should look for more information before his uncle arrived later. He reached the living room and saw 3 unfamiliar men and his cousin. He asked why he wasn't at school, but then his eyes widened as he realized something. The box his cousin was opening was full of money, and memories of his past life returned. He remembered how his cousin wanted to be with the delinquents and stole all the money from home, causing a huge mess. The bullies questioned who he was. Gwang Jae replied that he was his cousin. The blonde bully threatened Kim Tae-hyun not to meddle in their problems. He put his hand on his head as a way to show superiority, but he didn't show any sign of weakness. On the contrary, he was excited to have the chance to test his powers. The blonde didn't even have time to react to the punch he was about to receive. With one punch, he was knocked to the ground by Kim Tae-hyun, almost losing consciousness from the impact on the ground. Hang Jae and the others were shaken by the situation. He raised his hand, preparing to activate his powers. The blonde put his arms in front to protect himself. He was scared, expecting some firepower to come out of his hand. Kim Tae-hyun was also excited, but the voice in his mind said that the ability to steal skills was currently inaccessible. The blonde looked, wondering why no power came to him, while he was surprised that predation hadn't been activated. A blow came his way while he was distracted. He had been punched by the guy he was holding. He was thrown to the ground by the force of that punch. The blonde ordered the other 2 to attack him. One shot his viming power while the other blew poisonous breath, and the blonde used his thorn ability. The 3 attacks came towards him. Kim Tae-hyun was surprised by the speed of the attacks. A pressure erupted from the 2nd floor of the house. They watched the purple smoke of the poison. The blonde taunted Kim Tae-hyun with his words, thinking they had won. But then he noticed something in the middle of the smoke. Again, the crimson aura shone, standing out in the smoke. The presence of a hungry predator was forming in Kim Tae-hyun. He complained about his ability coming and going when it wanted instead of when he commanded. The 3 delinquents were still shaken by the sight they were having. He shot forward with his fist, covered in stones, and hit the blonde's face. He reveled in the oppressive power of his strong ability. A few moments after winning the fight, he looked content at the unconscious bodies of the delinquents on the ground. he discovered that the attribute window was only visible to him. It detailed his abilities, but not everything was informed. The information not mentioned were the activation conditions of the predation ability. Besides that, the passive effect of nullifying other abilities was also not mentioned in the attribute window. He continued thinking and pondering other ideas in his mind, but he put those ideas aside for the moment. He saw his cousin kneeling on the ground, apologizing. Hang Jae-young said he was reflecting on his reckless actions after seeing an impressive side of him. He also said he would be his subordinate and follow any order he gave. While the young man spoke, Kim Tae-hyun thought about what to do with the other incident that happened today. He said he forgave his cousin and he stood up like a fox. But in exchange for forgiveness, he had to follow him to do something. At an abandoned train station, warning signs were placed in front of the main gate. The three agents looked stunned at something ahead. A portal was about to suffer a break. Portal break is a phenomenon where monsters from the abyss open a path to reality, and if left unchecked, it can lead to something worse than a natural disaster. The agent said the last portal break happened 10 years ago and that the monsters from this portal were spreading too quickly. The assistant asked if they should start evacuating the neighborhood, but received a negative response from the supervisor, whose ability was called Barrier, and his rank was B. By their measurement standards, this portal was ranked C. So, the strongest monster from this portal was also C. While the agent boasted about his superpower, the monsters forced their way through the barrier and managed to break it. The leader quickly reacted to the monsters behind him. With a kick, he cut off the head of a Cyclops monster. He says that as rank B awakeners, they are more than enough to face the danger of that portal. Hwang Ji-hyung runs after his cousin, questioning if the group of agents mentioned earlier would be okay since they are quite strong. He continues emphasizing what has already been said as they run to the train station. Kim Tae-hyun responds that although the initial mana of the portal is rank C and the control personnel are rank B, they will have no problems with rank C opponents. Hwang Ji-hyun complains that this is exactly what he was talking about, but Kim Tae-hyun says that this would be true if the portal was really rank C, surprising his cousin. The area around the portal was full of dead monsters. The group leader analyzed the bodies, wondering how those rank C monsters broke his rank B barrier. He turns to the gate again, realizing that the mana flowing from the portal is stronger than he estimated. Then they see more creatures coming out of the portal. The creatures touch the barrier, already crack it. The three look at the scene without words. The monsters break the barrier and disorient the three with a display of power. They easily exit the portal entrance towards the people, and the huge monster that accomplished this feat was a giant ogre of rank A.